Welcome to Dr. Cush's Exotic Drinks. I'm, of course, Dr. Cush, along with my barback Kyle. I'm not a real doctor, but I did spend almost 2 decades running some of LA's best bars. After years of teaching classes and training bartenders, I want to demystify the cocktail world for you. Let's try a few new things as I open up my bar to everybody. Belly up, chat, and let's have a drink. Welcome everybody to Dr. Cush's Exotic Drinks. I'm of course Dr. Cush, and we are here today, continuing our summer of punch. Just give me 1 second. Moments before the show started, I realized that this guy was not working, and I have one charging. Not a great way to start a show, but it's the way we've started it. We can't go back now. There's no restarts in this. Welcome, everybody, to Dr. Cush's Exotic Drinks. I am, of course, Dr. Cush, and we are continuing our journey on this summer of punch. And when, in everything, when you start, the best and only place to start is at the beginning. So we're going to be getting into some very old versions of single-serve punches today. Those single serve punches have been called many things, or at least the name for these single serve punches has changed an awful lot about what exactly it entails. And that name is slings. We are going to be making different versions of a sling today. We're going to explain a little bit about how the sling, we're going to explain, I think maybe a lot of it. Did I say a little bit? I meant a lot of it. We're going to explain a lot of it about how the sling sort of influenced not just cocktails, not just punches, but possibly, well, okay, just those 2 things. I don't know if it affected the world. That's what we're doing. I'm going to show you guys how to make an original whiskey sling. We're going to do a basically a build up of how the whiskey sling works. We're going to get into a real gin sling. We're going to get into like an old version of the gin sling. If you are a fan of gin drinks and you're sort of sick and tired of the gin and tonic, well, boy, do I have news for you. The gin sling exists, and I think you're going to like it. And then, of course, we can't do a sling class without ending with one of the world's most famous slings. Not every country has a national cocktail beverage, but Singapore certainly does. And we're going to get into the Singapore sling here at the end. The Singapore sling is so diverse. It's almost, you can almost call the Singapore sling its own category of drinks. There are so many different versions of the Singapore sling. We're going to get into a guy who we know and love, the masquerade one. We're going to get into Gaz Regan's version of the Singapore sling, because that's the one that I like. And I will tell you how the Singapore sling started the pandemic. Before we get into that, let me say hello, first of all, to the people that we love and adore. Here is our good friend Bon Bon. Hello, Bon Bon. Happy Saturday to you. Bon Bon almost missed this show. Dang, where did it go? Dang, it's gone now. Bon Bon almost missed this show because she was watching this show. It's an odd way to miss this show. She was watching other videos of this show, almost missed this show because she was watching this show. Let me say hello over here to Tiki Tom Hubbard. Tiki Tom for the win. Tiki Tom sent me a little DM recently. I love getting those DMs from you guys. Send me whatever you got. He showed me about an Indiana Tiki Festival. Road trip to Indiana, anybody? Let's go to a Tiki Festival. Let me say hello to Dougie G in the place to be. Hello, Dougie G. Always a pleasure, my friend. Never a chore at all. Here is our friend, Moose. Moose. Good to see you, pal. I don't know what that cracking is. We got to figure out what that crackling is on my board. Maybe I shouldn't have called it out. Too late now. Shawnee P is here. Good to see you, Shawnee P. Good evening. Sorry, what did I say? I meant good evening. Happy Saturday to all of you. Yes, Dougie G is saying his spider senses were tingling. He was expecting something from Singapore. Yeah, we're going to get into Singapore sling. It's an important cocktail. It's a very, very important cocktail. I do think that if you have never had a good Singapore sling, you need one. And if you've ever had a great tiki drink, you have the Singapore sling to thank. Let's see who else we got here. We got a lot of people here that are not. Oh, here it is. Bon Bon was streaming another Kush show and almost missed this Kush show. That is dedication. Wow, that is a lot. Let me say hello to our good friend Davey Virtue. Davey V, heyo. Davey V is here and ready. He is a newer member of the community, but a virtuous member. And I was always saying, we need more virtue. We don't have enough. We have honor. We have bravery. We need a little virtue. Let me say hello to my nieces who are watching, the girls, and Alex. Alex is not my niece. He is, in fact, my brother. That's both my brothers I've dealt with today. I saw Grant, the heel of this show. I saw him earlier. Had some lunch with him. Archer and Avalon. Good to see you, girls. Always a pleasure. One lantern, I know. We got it. Wow! Paul is ready to sling some drinks. Sling some drinks. Never mind, says Kyle. Thank you, Kyle. Nice cut. I'm feeling very, very fresh. I'm feeling very fast. Feeling like I got my Converse All-Stars on. I can run so fast with this haircut. Feeling very good. Here is our friend, Feet Are Not Feet. Still do not understand, but I like it. We got Jay Souther. Had me at gin. Lost him at what the rest of his first name is. You had me at gin. Well, good. I'm good. Honestly, we got some gin coming here. No doubt about it. We got a lot of gin. Let's see. Who else we got? Deirdre Lee is here. Our good friend Deirdre Lee. Good. Hi, Cushies and Kush. I guess I am not in the Cushies. That makes sense. Here is our good friend and producer. There she is. Jen. Okay. Whoa. There's Jen. Deirdre Lee is calling and say Johnny Bravo haircut. I will accept that. I will accept Johnny Bravo. Oh, I will take it. I'm in. Okay. People have been mixing liquids into other liquids since the beginning. Once we had one liquid, it was always important that we put another liquid into it. So to be able to say that any of these things started the cocktail or started mixed drinks or started anything, it's ridiculous. There's probably some Mesopotamian dude sitting by the Nile, grabbed an asp, used an asp as a big old water bucket, just filled that snake up, took a little bit of I don't know, mango juice. What are they making in Cairo? Don't have any idea. Mango juice, I assume. Threw a little bit of that in there, made his asp water taste a little bit better. Drank that, probably died. I don't know what the story is because that story wasn't written down. All right, we don't know that story, but I'm sure it happened. Everything has happened. The point being, before I send us into an existential crisis, the point being, it's going to be tough to say exactly which of this is all true. Just stay with me. We're talking theory today, all right? We're getting deep into the intellectual spinach. Pull up your socks. This is deep intellectual spinach that we have going in here. So we start off in around the 1700s. Doug just yelled at me, nice asp. And I have to say that that's some sort of harassment. Now, I don't know if this is a workplace anymore. I don't know what that is, but some sort of harassment. How do we ban people? Is there a ban button? We won't ban Doug today. Okay. We're talking like the 1700s. We start seeing this. We start seeing this word starts getting flung around. It's called a sling. A sling. Now, where does the word sling come from? I will tell you. It comes from a German word. It comes from a German word that sounds a lot like sling. Please do not ask me to do German. I speak a little German. The moment I do it, though, it's terrifying. It's like a schlingen. Where's Tammy? A schlingenschlangen. Don't worry about it. Anyway, what this German word meant was a quick sip, right? It was a quick sip. It was meant to help everybody drink their drinks much faster. If you need to drink your alcohol, I got a way to do it, a sling. What we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of sugar and a little bit of water into your drink, and now it will taste better. That is a sling. Does that sound familiar to anybody? A little bit of sugar, a little bit of booze. Sounds an awful lot like early versions of the old-fashioned. The old-fashioned used to be called a bittered whiskey sling. You add bitters into the sugar, and suddenly you have a sling. That's awesome. That's great. We love all that. Guten Tag to Loriander. Guten Tag to all of us. Guten Abend and Guten Nacht, I believe, to Loriander. Anyway, so we start seeing this word sling sort of being thrown around. Anytime you add a little bit of sugar, a little bit of water to a drink, well, heck, that's a sling, baby. You got yourself a sling. You've made your drink a little bit easier to swallow, as the German word says. So when you bitter that sling, what are you doing? You're adding bitters to it. And now the cocktail, we started as the bitter sling. The bitter sling has become the cocktail. Now a whiskey cocktail is an old-fashioned. It started the whole frickin' thing, these slings did. So we're going to start off by making a whiskey sling. I'm going to grab the correct cup. There's our correct cup. We're going to start off by making the whiskey sling here. It is a very, very simple drink to make, but we are going to go through the progressions of a whiskey sling. All right, so we're going to start off with the very basic version of the whiskey sling, and then we will get into the final boss of the whiskey sling. What sort of nowadays, if you walk into a bar, you order a whiskey sling. First of all, most bartenders will tell you, get out. I don't, no, we're not dealing with that today. Take your asp and get it out of here. Take your asp out of here, they'll say. We're going to deal with, we're going to make this cocktail. It is very, very simple to do. It is 3 ingredients. We love a good 3-ingredient drink. First of all, we're going to take some whiskey. Now, you do not need, in order to make a whiskey sling, to have Jim Beam number 7. Cocktail Lulu said Farford Lugan. Farford Nugan. Farford Nugan. I don't think that's German. I didn't get too deep into it. What I do know about Germany, and I will tell you this, my most German story of all time, I was trying to get from one part of Germany to the other part of Germany, and I was at the train station, and I started to run because the train was leaving. And I know if you can catch a train and jump onto it, that still counts. All right, you're on that train. They're not going to kick you out. Started to run. And then suddenly my foot hit something, and I slid about 30 feet. I looked back. What did I slip on? Strudel. Slipped right on a strudel. It's not a joke. It really did happen to me. I slipped on a strudel. Okay. We're going to get some whiskey. We're also going to get 2 other things. We're going to grab some of this. This is sugar. We've all seen sugar. Feed it to horses, and horses become super powered. We are also going to be adding just a little bit of water. Now, I forgot to get water, but I remembered, and I don't always remember this. Ice that we put in drinks is frozen water. So we have just a little bit of water here with some of the ice going. Here. Deidre says that sounds like a made-up story. Not a made-up story. Not a made-up story. It did happen to me. I did slip in Germany chasing a train, notoriously on time. I was late. It was not the train's fault. I was late. And I did slip on strudel. It looked red, but I wasn't going to taste it because my foot had been in. Okay, so let's make our beginning sling. Very, very simple. We're going to take our glass. We're going to throw in our sugar. Super pro. See how I did that? Oh, I'm going to do this one more time just to get a little. Love it. We're also going to be adding in a little bit of water. Why the water? Well, we have to find a way to get that sugar to not be so cubey anymore. All right, we are ending cubism at this point. If I knew more about art history, I would mention the artist that ended cubism, and I would say, we're going to pull one of those guys because we're ending the don't worry about it. Pour a little bit of water. How much water? Don't ask. Don't worry about it. Just put in enough water so that when you take out your muddler, you can really get this. Let me just show you guys how I have to stand to make this thing look right. I have to do this. Hi. Hello. Okay. I put this camera in the stupidest place. Maybe I'll do it like, oh God, I have to do everything left-handed. Gross. Disgusting. Okay. Let's bring in sugar cam. This is the kind of sugar we got going on in here. You notice that it's not a cube anymore. It is very much a bit of, there's little chunkules in there, but we're not too worried about the chunkules. Last ingredient, in order to make a real sling, the original sling, the way we first started seeing the sling, we need 2 ounces of whiskey. Bon is letting me know she's left-handed. I did not mean that left-handed people are gross. I meant that me doing anything left-handed is, if I had shown you what I was doing, you would have gotten, the kids call it the ick. I don't look dignified when I try and do anything left-handed. I'm playing tennis. I've taken up tennis recently, and watching me do a backhand has to be the funniest situation there's ever been. I don't have anything in it. This way. Oh, look at that smooth. This looks ridiculous. What else do we need? Obviously, we need some ice. Throw that ice in there, right there. And do I have a very left-handed audience? I did not listen. I'm sorry. I did not mean. I was watching myself do the left-handed thing. I do not mean that you guys are. Left-handed people are just as good as right-handed people. They're just a little different, and it's fine. Okay, we're going to give this just a little bit of a spin, make the drink dizzy. And my friends, ta-da, we have finished a sling. Super simple. All this is meant to do is make the drink a little easier to shoot down. Really. It's surprisingly kind of interesting. It really does, especially with a bourbon. Bourbon already has that sweetness. When you are introducing a little bit more water, we know opens up all of our cocktails. Whatever water you're using, as long as you're not using distilled water, it's going to get in there. It's going to react with the bits and bobs that live in there, the polyphenols, etc. It's going to open that up. And then the sugar, obviously, is going to give it a little bit more taste. So you're going to sort of like adding salt to a steak. It shouldn't taste like salt. It just tastes more like steak. That's what we're doing in here. Very simple. Well, eventually, we started to add more things to the sling. First thing we started really adding, one of the things we started adding was one of these guys. This is a lemon. They did it in 2 different ways to begin sling life. We are going to see, just 1 second. I just want to call this out. So Glenn here is saying, hiding in the bushes, he is not a punch fan. However, this is a version of a punch. This is a version of a punch. It is just sugar, water, and I guess sugar, water, and booze. That's it. It is technically called a sling, and slings are punches. So you're learning something. I know, I'm your kid, but teaching you something. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of lemon. We're going to start here with just a little bit of lemon. And check this out. We're adding an ingredient. We have now taken an extra ingredient into here. We've taken the oil of lemon, which is a very, very strong flavor. We've added it in here, and now we're elevating. We're bumping it up. This is how these things started. This is how this whole cocktail thing started. So Next thing we're going to take, just because, we're trying to keep this all within an hour. We're going to take one of these guys. This is a lemon again. Remember the lemon from just a moment ago? Slice it. Does this work? Is that a weird angle? I know. I really don't think I'm going to win cinematography on this show today. I will not be submitting this show for online cocktail cinematography. That's not what we're doing. We're going to take just a little bit of lemon juice and we're going to squeeze in just a little bit of lemon juice. That's going to help to counteract some of that sweetness. Here we go. Got a whole new drink. Give that a big stir right there. Technically, just chill. Technically, in a number of different books, this also a sling. If you ask exactly what a sling is, the definition has changed. This is This right here is a different version of a sling. The place where it starts to go haywire, the place where we really start to lose the full meaning, the original meaning of the sling, is when we start adding things like bitter slings. Start calling them bitter slings. Some people, and I don't know what sensibilities were like back then. Some people called they would say it's a cocktail, or it's more vulgarly called a bittered sling. I guess that's a vulgar situation to be calling it. I don't know what anything. I don't know anything about what that's going on. But we're going to add some bitters. Now, the bitters we're adding is going to be this guy. This is not Dave and Sam or Sam and Dave bitters. This is Angostura bitters. We just want 2 big dashes. So throw 2 big dashes of some Angostura bitters in here. And that, my friends, what you just witnessed was the revolution. This is when cocktails became a thing. The fact that we call everything a cocktail now, even cranberry juice, for whatever reason, cranberry juice cocktail is a thing. I don't know how that fits in there. I don't know how it works. But the moment we started putting these bitters into this, the flavor profiles popped, it opened, and it became a thing that we had been doing for thousands of years, but finally had a fun new name to call it. We've been calling them punches for a long time. A little sour, a little sweet, a little strong, a little weak, and a little spice to make it all nice. The moment we put that bitters in there, we got a whole new thing, the cocktail revolution, and that you can thank for all of the mustache curls, all of the suspenders, all of the vests. And there we have it. That is delicious. Even with little flavors, we're using the fresh flavors, obviously, but we're using big flavors in here. That right there, it took me 23 minutes and 47 seconds to make the original whiskey sling. Now, if you take out that, lemon right there, you're left with basically an old-fashioned whiskey cocktail. If you instead put a little bit of egg white, or maybe even bump up the sugar a little bit, you got a whiskey sour. From here, we can start to go all kinds of places. But this is everything all in one batch, and that's why punches and slings are so interesting. Okay, Kyle, do you want to come get this? I wasn't going to give this to Kyle, but I wasn't going to give this to Kyle. I don't think he'd like it, but maybe he will. Jay Souther says, little known factoid, cranberry juice cocktail is just cranberries and orgeat. I agree. I think that is probably true. Now, Jay Souther's going to he's going to retract that, but I don't know. Jay Souther is also saying this is Jim Beam lemonade. Basically, this is Jim Beam lemonade, but because we have to have a little gravitas when we're talking about cocktails, otherwise we are just drunks. We're calling it a cocktail. Kyle, do you want this thing, or you good? Okay, here comes Kyle Tender. There you go. Got it. Cool. All right, he's good. All right, write this down. Obviously, because I just made you 3 drinks, basically in maybe 4 or 5, maybe 7 or 8 drinks in 1 cup right there. We just changed it as we went. Obviously, the sling is ill-defined. It is ill-defined. What exactly is a sling? What exactly makes it a sling? Well, technically, what exactly makes it a sling? It was defined for us. It really, really was defined for us at some point. For a while, the Americans were the only ones that were making all of these drinks. The English eventually took over, and they found one drink that they really, really liked, and that was the gin sling. The English love gin. I don't know what it is about the English and gin. I would love a full on. I would like to just dismantle that whole thing. Just take England apart for a little bit, see how it works, how all the little how that all goes, how Big Ben and his gears go. What is going on with gin over there? It's very nice, but it is odd how much they like gin. Anyway, they took this gin sling. They started taking punches. Or sorry, they had the idea for punches, and they started making gin slings using the same formula they had for punches, but they were using them in single format or in single serving sizes. And that's what slings became, right? So the English, because the English had been making punches for forever, there's a good chance that the English invented punch with either going into India, learning about all this stuff, the pancha, the five fingers of death, the one of sour, two of sweet, three of strong, four of weak, and a little spice, make it all nice. Pancha, that's the Hindi word for punch. Or whether it's from the large container that they carried them in, puncheons. We don't know. Nobody was there. People were too drunk on gin at that point to even figure it out. So we don't exactly know what happened. Anyway, what we do know is the English had this formula. And if you don't want to make a large drink, a big bowl of something, hey, make a sling. It's just like a punch, but it's one of them. So I want to make a very old version of a gin sling. This is not obviously gin sling. If we did it the other way, it would have been one of sour, two of sweet, three of strong, four of weak, little spice, make it all nice. And then you add that gin inside as the strong. That's a gin sling. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to bump this up a little bit. We're going to find a little bit more fun in this, finding something that really does have, where did it go? Oh, it's in here. I got it right here. We're going to add just a little bit of some sweet vermouth in this as well. And we're going to make ourselves a cocktail. So get ready for that. I think it's important that you all prepare yourselves. This is a gin sling. It's an old version, a very fun version. And I think if you like gin, if you like regular gin and tonic, gin and sodas, I think this is a good one for you. We're going to start over here by using gin. Surprise, shock. Got to use gin in the gin sling. It almost makes too much sense that we are using the gin. Let's get into this. We're going to start off by putting in 1.5 ounces of some gin. Bloop. Pretty nice, pretty easy. Thank you, DCW Clark, for your contribution to the show and sponsoring that bottle of gin. We are also going to be adding in our sweet vermouth. Now, sweet vermouth, if we're talking about one of sour, two of sweet, we are technically putting in 2 different sweeteners in this. All right. So one of sour, we're going to be putting in 1 sour, 2 sweet, 3, just put in a lot of gin. Dr. Taco MD is very excited about bottle sponsors. Bottle sponsors. Yes, bottle sponsor. We love a bottle sponsor. Let me get this going. Okay. Go ahead and throw in 1 ounce of some sweet vermouth. Looking real good. Make sure, if you can, if you have access to a modern kitchen that has a refrigerator and you have vermouth, I recommend, obviously, storing your vermouth in the refrigerator. It sounds crazy. We got to make everything cold. We don't have to make everything cold. We just have to make the vermouth cold. Okay. 1 of sour, 2 of sweet. Let's throw in another sweetener. We're going to be putting in 1 ounce of some simple syrup, freshly made. This is very fresh. You can even see all the little sugars still clinging to the side. Everybody knows my famous bottle of Frank's Red Hot that I use as my simple syrup container. We need 1 full ounce, 1 full ounce of some simple syrup. Now, Deidre is asking a very interesting question. Deidre does not have access to a modern kitchen. Instead, Deidre has an ice box. Would an ice box work? Yes, absolutely. I would, depending on how many centuries old this ice box that we're talking about is, just try not to get it too cold that it freezes. If you freeze some of this stuff, you get it below its freezing point, it will crush. It will crunch, and it will remove some of the flavor. So, yeah. Dr. Taco MD, wish I could send you some Inferno Room Dr. Bird. You can. I have a P.O. box. Just got a P.O. box just the other day. We'll find out how to send you that thing because I love Dr. Bird. It's, it's us doctors. We hang out. Okay. We're in here. We, of course, need to add something in here to make this a little bit of the sour elements of this. 1 of sour, 2 of sweet. We're going to throw in 3/4 of an ounce of some lemon juice. Right here. Can I get it with 1? I cannot. We are so close, but so far away. So I'll have to cut another one. Let's get this shot looking really pretty. Maybe we can come back. So we'll just we'll do the shot just like this. So I'm just gonna prepare for my shot here. Really squeeze in over here, and then gotta get this going up. Yes. Continue on with 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. We didn't need much. There we go. Very nice. Which zombie glass is that? This is from the Tonga Hut. The Tonga Hut zombie glass. It is not the Undertow, just the Tonga Hut. Not just the Tonga Hut's also very nice. Okay, let's continue on. We need to get, obviously, a little spice to make it all nice. Let's throw in our Angostura bitters. How many? Just do it. Just absolutely, don't worry about it. Just do it. We're going to get our ice going in here. I think crushy ice might have been a really good way to do this. I didn't even think about crushy ice for tonight. I thought maybe if we didn't do crushy ice, then Rich Whiffen would show up, but alas, he has not yet. Normally, right as we start shaking, that's when Rich Whiffen shows up. Let's see, is Rich Whiffen going to be here? Susan Lang asks, where's my cutting board? It and all of them are being washed currently. I should really get a cutting board back here. I do not have it. Lori, how many dashes of Angostura bitters? Yes. Yes. How many? Yes. Big shake, ready, 1, 2, 3. The shake is important in this one because we are adding, what we're adding into this is some of the weak. We get a nice big shake. What is Kyle dun-dun-dunning? Dun-dun-dun. I haven't been caught. Nothing's been caught. Nothing's gone wrong. I don't have my cutting boards back here. I just don't have them. Okay, we need a little bit. Oh, I was gonna have a heart-to-heart and then my foot touched. We need to add one other ingredient in this, and that is soda water. Now, you can, of course, use regular old soda water, boring old soda water. I, however, really like this one. This is the Trader Joe's Cranberry and Clementine Sparkling Water. It's very nice, pretty cheap, adds a little bit more fun to cocktails. If you don't like any flavors, get a regular soda water. I'm sure Trader Joe's also sells those, but For me, I like this stuff. So if I'm going to have soda water just hanging around the bar anyway, I'm going to get the stuff I like. We need 2 ounces of soda water. We're going to throw that in first. How come? Because bubbles go up. Bubbles go up. If we put bubbles in at the last minute, then the bubbles are going to go up and out of our drink. If we put them on the bottom, they have a much better chance of adding to our drink and becoming part of it. We're going to pour this guy right into here. We shook hard enough that we do have a bunch of crushy ice in there. That's what we want. We are also going to, let's grab this so you guys aren't just looking at my armpits. You're not going to stay in there, huh? Okay, fine. We're going to grab this guy right here. This is a Hawthorne strainer, but I do want you to notice how very thick these things are. These how very thick some of these the spaces are versus this guy right here, which is very thin. This is going to keep out a lot more ice. This is going to let a lot more ice in. We want a lot of that ice getting in on this one, so we will be adding, we'll be straining with the big one. Pour this in like that. How's our wash line? Super professional. Dang, didn't even mean to do that. There's still ice left in here. That was a complete guess. Pretty darn good. Wow. It's almost like watching yourself bartend for the past 4 years makes you get your wash lines right. I can't tell, but it does feel that way. Okay, we are going to take just a little bit of this lemon. We're not going to put it anywhere near a cutting board or cutting surface. We're just going to go right along through here and slice. Lemon. Nice twist. This is not really a tiki drink. So we do not really, other than the fact that it's in a tiki cup right here, we do not need all the tiki accoutrement. This should be a sort of understated, sort of a subtle drink right here. I never have straws, so I guess we'll have to do this. Oh, is this a straw? This is a plastic straw. This is poison, I think they call it. We're going to just throw this right in here. And thus we have it, guys. This right here is an original gin sling. Let me take that back. This right here is a delicious gin sling. I don't know if it's an original gin sling. The gin sling originally would have just been gin, sugar, and water. That's an original gin sling. This is a much more fun version. We can start to see extra flavors sort of being put into these one-off punches. What's kind of fun about these too is you can make them into large format punches too. If you get a big bowl, you can put on all those ingredients, just up everything a little bit, and dump it in, and you should be good there. This is a sling, better known at this point in time up to today as a miniature punch. A punch for one person. That's what this is. It is really good. Oh boy. Oh boy, this is dangerous. I have to address something real quick. Let me say hello real quick to Kim K. So late, we have been drinking French 53s. Sorry, French 53s. What? Good to see you, Kim. I do not know what a French 53 is. I want to know. I have to know now. Please, immediately send me the recipe. I want to make some French 53s after the summer of punch is over. Delicious. Okay, Kyle, do you want that drink? I think so. Glenn says, please invite your friends to join our group. Dr. Kush deserves a bigger audience. Dr. Kush is having, let me just say real quick, we have the largest audience I believe we've ever had. We are up to, now you guys can't see it because some of these people are over watching in other places. We are up to 35 people. We were just a minute ago. There you go. Enjoy that, pal. I really like that. Don't drink all of it. Oh, Deidre says it's about 22 less French 75. Glenn says he loves a French 53. I don't know, man. I don't know. Sounds all good. Dr. Daco MD. I love other tiki doctors. Everybody loves tiki doctors. Kim K is clearly has been drinking a few of these things. She says, "Hello, Bob Bon." Hello, Bob Bon. Okay. I don't get emotional all that often. That's not true. I've cried on the show probably 5 times. But it is hard to not be very excited about this next drink. It is called the Singapore Sling. Now, if we were to personify a drink, this would be the team captain, I believe. This would be the grizzled vet that has been through it all, has seen everything, takes the new guys, boosts them up, teaches the new guys what he knows without any real fear of being left or forgotten, because he knows that he had his time in the sun. But now it's time to pass it on to the next guys. This is a drink called the Singapore Sling. It was created by a guy, and I butcher the name every time. It's Nyam. It's an Ngiam. It's Nyam Tong Boon. Nyam Tong Boon was a bartender at a place called the Raffles. It's at the Raffles Hotel, the long bar at the Raffles Hotel. He created this one also out of some necessity. Basically, women at the bar were seen as hussies, as what's another? I don't know. I don't want to start just naming bad words for ladies back then. They were seen as less than reputable if they were seen drinking whiskey or seen drinking an alcoholic drink. So, our friend, Mr. Boone, said, "You know what? You know what I can do? I think I can do this. I'm going to make a drink that, now hear me out, looks like it's juice. The ladies are allowed to drink the juice. I'm going to make a drink that looks like juice, but it'll be boozy, and that's when we're going to have a party." Now, for a while in my career, when I was teaching these classes, I would say things like, "Oh, he just like found things that he liked and put them in. He just liked these things, so he just put them in." I have learned recently, because I used to think, just like I think a lot of people think, bartending is magic. It's just people just know these things. They just always know how anybody that's a good bartender has just memorized every drink, and they just know these things. That's not true. It's just not true. Obviously, our bartender friend Yam, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. Nobody online pronounces it the same. But our bartender friend Yam he worked at an international hotel, so he would have seen other people coming in, and or he would have been, like, talked to other bartenders. He would have talked to all kinds of other people. He would have learned about how to build a punch slash a sling, and I think he kind of nails it. There are a ton of different ways that you can make this drink, but he was making this back in 19 the first real reports we hear of it are like 1915. Well, let's take a guess real quick. Who was most likely passing through Singapore at that point in 1915? I'll give you guys a second. A guy named Ernest Raymond Beaumont Gant, most likely, if not through the Raffles Hotel, would have passed through Singapore on all of his travels and would have found a drink like the Singapore Sling and said, "Oh God, I have to have more of these. Let's figure it out." And on all of his on his very first menus at Dawn the Beachcombers, there was, in fact, a Singapore Sling. So, did the Singapore Sling actually start all of the tiki drink movement? I don't know. I don't know. Did it definitely not? It definitely didn't not definitely. Do the double negative for me. There's a chance that this was the very first Singapore sling. Or sorry, this would have been, sorry. There's a very good chance that this would have been the very first punch that Don would have tried. There's also a chance it was like 5,000th, but it was one of those ones that he really liked and was able to craft an entire cocktail kingdom, an entire cocktail world over it. So we have to make, if we're talking about slings, we're talking about individual sized punches, we cannot do a show without talking about the Singapore sling. And so we're going to make a Singapore sling. Now, I think I said this earlier, but I'm going to say it again. Everybody has a different version of the Singapore sling. On my screen in front of me, I have 4 different versions. Two of them use pineapple. Some of them don't use Benedictine. They all kinds of crazy versions of this. You have to find your own. You have to find your own version of the Singapore sling. This is the version that I like so much. This is Gary Gaz Regan's version. We're not using the same gin, but we are going to be making Gary Gaz Regan's version of the Singapore sling. I made this drink for 15 years behind a bar. I will tell you the very quick story. Every bartender has to have a drink that when somebody comes up to them in the middle of a busy night and they say, I don't know, just make me something. Every bartender needs to have that drink that they can just make them. Just a quick boom, 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 something they can knock out real quick. Mine was the Singapore sling. And never in my career did anybody ever return a Singapore sling. If I made them a Singapore sling and I slid it across the bar, they would drink it, whether it was a big burly dude or a petite little dude or a big burly woman or a petite little woman or any version of people in between those 4 types of people. They would never, ever return it until one day when a woman returned it. She was a woman, and she said, this, I don't like it. It tastes like big red gum. I don't want this. And I took it back, and I'd been telling that story for forever. Nobody's ever returned one of my Singapore slings. And finally she did. She did not like it. The day that happened, March 14th, 2020. That woman caused the COVID pandemic. Some people think it's bats. Some people think it was released from a lab. I know the real story. That woman returned my drink and put a curse on all of us. Let's make this drink. We are going to get into the weeds on this one. I'm going to tell you guys a lot about what's going on, but I'm going to do it as fast as I can. We're going to start off, not important that we do everything in descending order. Just put it in the order that you want. This is the order that I have it memorized. So let's start knocking these out. We're going to go ahead and put in 2 full ounces of a London dry gin, or Martin Miller's gin. Not exactly a London dry, but go ahead and put in 2 ounces of a gin. Yes. All right. Now, this is Cherry Hearing. Cherry Hearing is a, oh, what have I done? I just screwed that all up. Okay. Cherry Hearing has been around since, and they'll say right here, 1818. 1818. But it did not become super popular until much, much later. It is used exclusively, sorry, not exclusively. Sometimes I just throw out words to make it sound more gravitasal. It is used in 2 major cocktails. 2 major cocktails that I don't think enough people have sat down and tried. One of them, of course, being the Singapore Sling. The other one being the Blood and Sand. This stuff is also great in a blood and sand cocktail. Really nice, really interesting stuff. We're going to go ahead and put in half of an ounce of some cherry hearing. If you do not have cherry hearing, that is fine. Can I give you an alternative real quick? I think cherry Morelosco. Sangue Morelosco is pretty good too. Not exactly interchangeable, but as close as you can get. We need half an ounce of some cherry hearing. Cherry hearing, of course, is just cherry brandy. That spends a little bit of time in the barrels, from what I understand, and hangs out the rest of the time. Next thing we need in here, this is where we get into our bittering elements, but also continuing on our sweet elements. This is Benedictine. Benedictine, to all of you that don't know what Benedictine tastes like, Benedictine tastes exactly like Benedictine. There is no real other way to describe the flavor of Benedictine. It is just it's got its own flavor. Benedictine is Benedictine. Sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. We need a 1/4 ounce of Benedictine. There we go. I always recommend earlier than later in your home bartending career that you get a hold of some Benedictine. It's a great way to switch out some of your sweeteners. You got too much simple syrup that you're putting into drinks, throw some Benedictine in there. The bricks are a little bit off, a little bit different, but it is still very, very nice. We need a little bit of orange in here. We're just going to use some triple sec. It does not need to be a very interesting triple sec. It just can be, this is, what's this brand? Mr. Stacks. No idea what Mr. Stacks is, what they're up to, but you just need an orange liqueur. If you want to make a top shelf Singapore Sling, be my guest. But this stuff is just fine. We need half an ounce of some triple sec. Now, this is where controversy sets in. I personally think that adding the pineapple juice is important. Martin Kate, on the other hand, from Smuggler's Cove, thinks that it is not important. In fact, disagrees completely with adding pineapple juice. He does not add pineapple juice to his Singapore Sling. I do the exact opposite because I am a big fan of Gaz Regan and a lot of his cocktails. And we're going to go ahead and put in 2 ounces. 2 ounces of some pineapple juice. This is fresh squeezed, so the fresher the better. The pineapple juice is just which version of the Sling you're making. That's exactly right. Yeah, pineapple juice, whether you're adding pineapple juice or not, I do think that at this point, the Singapore Sling has more versions of drinks than maybe even a sour. Everybody makes a different version. This is the version that I like. Other people certainly enjoy other versions of this drink. I've had bad Singapore Slings. If you have a bartender that has at least practiced this drink once before, you should have a great version of the Singapore Sling. Okay, we need a little bit of fresh lime juice. Sorry, I am running late. I forgot all about that. Let's slice. We need 3/4 of an ounce of some, there we go, some fresh lime juice. We're going to squeeze that by hand. There we go. Nice and easy. Squeezy, squeezy. And we need just a little bit of Angostura. And what's our good friend, let me put this here, what our good friend Gaz Regan, rest in peace, says is put it in to taste. I'm putting like 4 dashes in here. That's a half dasher. Oh, that's a half dasher, so don't be afraid that I put in 8. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, we're going to give this a big old shake. We're going to be using the ice from this to pour in. And we're going to be putting this into not a footed Pilsner, but instead a one of these guys. Oh, is it too tall? No, it's good. It's fine. We want just a slog of some soda water. And then we are going to shake and then pump and then dump. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Wow. Ooh, boy, that smells good. Pump and dump. And there, folks, you have it. That is Gary Gaz-Regan's version of the Singapore Sling. Oh, this is fun. I didn't know I had one of these. Kind of a fun little thing. We'll throw that in here. Kyle took my last straw, so we're gonna have to just house this right to the dome piece. And there we have it, guys. This is Singapore Sling. Ooh, get right here. Ooh, wow. But Dr. Doctor says those baby hurricanes are called squalls. That is true. A squall glass. I have a squall glass right here. Nailed it. Okay. Yes. Okay. Finally grabbed the Trader Joe's cold pressed pineapple juice. Tiki Reddit loves it. Nice 8 ounces for quick drinks. That's really interesting. Okay. I've heard that stuff is good. I'll have to check it out. Reddit loves it. Reddit usually doesn't like anything. So I like to hear that. That's what we got. Okay. We lost a straw right there. I don't think that's going to work. We're just going to have to drink this. Okay. We have it. We have our drink. A lot of times you will see much redder drinks in this category. A lot of people will use things like, I don't know, grenadine to make them red. I think this is the way to go. Cheers to all of you. Boy, that makes me happy. Don't worry. We have a lot more time on the Summer of Punch. We will be doing just about every version of the Singapore Sling. So don't worry about that. But for our class today, which was on slings specifically, I figured I would do my favorite version of the sling, which is the Singapore Sling, which is this one. But we will be doing more because it is a very diverse category. Okay. We've done it. Those are slings. Guys, these are the sling now defined as a single serve punch. We will be doing a lot of slings here in the very, very near future. We will be doing punches for the rest of the summer until eventually I am speaking at San Diego Tiki Oasis. I have not gotten a return email back. A little nervous. I'm really hoping that the Tiki people are just kind of slow to respond and didn't make a huge mistake in inviting me to speak. So I haven't heard back from them. We're going to hear back from them. And then we'll go from there. As always, that is what we got, guys. We have finished it. So let's put one of these. And we're not going to be doing any shots afterwards. Turns out I have an engagement. So I have to go. Darn it. Now Doug has to make 2 Singapore slings tonight. I think he'll be okay. Dr. Taco MD says, glad to see another Tiki show on YouTube. We love Tiki shows on YouTube. I love Tiki shows on YouTube. I do with a cleanup. For the new peeps. Oh, here's the after hours group. That's right. Yeah, join the after hours group. Come in. That's where a lot of the after hours things, that's where we learn a lot about the show, et cetera, et cetera. That's a good place. to hang out. Yeah, Dr. Taco, and I assume maybe Dr. Taco has a YouTube channel. If he does, everybody head over. If not, head over anyway. Just say hi. That's it. Thank you guys so much. Remember, these classes will always remain free. But if you can help out, there's a couple ways you can do it. I do have a Patreon right down there. Patreon is the way to sponsor a bottle. Find your tier of bottle sponsorship that you would like to get into. If you don't like Patreon, totally understand. I get it. Head on down. I have a PayPal and a Venmo. You want to like buy me a shot? I drink those shots. I really do. I do drink those shots sometimes. So send those my way if you can. And if you can't help out the channel financially, I totally understand. The best way to help out the channel is to share this channel. Find other people that might like this channel and share it with them. Say pop on over. Say I'll see you on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at Dr. Kush's Exotic Drinks. And if you can't help out the channel that way, the best way you can do it is show up. All right. I do classes Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays here at 6 p.m. California time, where we have started to create, not started, we're deep in the middle of creating one of the greatest communities of tiki people and nice people right on the internet. We're doing that. So find people that you would like and show up and hang out. Until next time, please watch as these credits roll by. These are the producers of the show. The I don't know what they're producers. They're patrons. You're my patrons. And as always, what do we always say? This one goes on for a while. What do we always say?
It's a floater.
We always say it's a floater. And until next time, guys, we always say
goodbye.
Goodbye.
That's all I am. Just a regular human bartender.
Bye bye.
Bye! Are you Dr. Jinga Janga?
Yes! All right! Woo!
Bye.
Tiki 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 taka taka ta teke teke nueve raka taka ta.
Are you Dr. Jinga Janga?